This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Jay Kelly, the new film from Academy Award nominee Noah Baumbach. George Clooney stars as an actor confronting his past and present on a journey of self-discovery, alongside Adam Sandler as his devoted manager. Critics are calling it a declaration of love to the chaotic art of filmmaking, with the Wall Street Journal praising it as a transcendent comedy drama. Jay Kelly is now playing in select theaters and on Netflix December 5th.
Hi, I'm here to pick up my son Milo.
There's no Milo here. Who picked up my son from school?
Streaming only on Peacock.
I'm gonna need the name of everyone that could have a connection.
You don't understand. It was just the 5 of us.
So this was all planned.
What are you gonna do?
I will do whatever it takes to get my son back.
I honestly didn't see this coming. These nice people killing each other.
All Her Fault. A new series streaming now only on Peacock.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, joining us now to talk about how this investigation goes and the outrage of these individuals like this one who comes to America and opens fire now on 2 heroic National Guards troops. Joining us is the great Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith. She is a spokesperson with the National Police Association, also a Chicago area police officer, a retired one. Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith, thank you so much for joining us on this big breaking news. Your reaction, first of all, I'm angry tonight to find out this was somebody who came to this country. We're hearing some reports that he may have overstayed his visa, but came in after that disastrous Biden withdrawal came in September 2021.
Let's not forget, Rita, and thanks so much for having me, that Alejandro Mayorkas testified in 2021 before the legislature. And at first he said, oh, yes, we vetted every one of these Afghanis coming into the United States. And when pushed on it and when reminded that he was under oath, he changed his claim and said, well, we don't really have any idea. We didn't really vet them.
Oh, wow. Hey, do me a favor, Betsy. I want to play this clip. Can you hang with us? Because we actually have him testifying, at least part of his testimony. This is exactly what Betsy's talking about. Alejandro Mayorkas, then Homeland Security Secretary, the guy responsible who let all those people in under Joe Biden. And this is him in 2023.
How many Afghans, Mr. Secretary, have been admitted to the United States through parole since the fall of Kabul? 2 years ago.
Congressman, I would be pleased to provide you with that data. I don't have it.
There were 70,192 Afghans that were brought into the United States. They were brought here on parole for 2 years. Will you be reviewing each individual status on a case-by-case basis as this expiration happens?
Congressman, you're referring to what we termed Operation Allies Welcome, a program that we are very proud of, that we instituted to provide refuge for individuals, many of whom...
Will you be reviewing those they came in on parole? Will you be reviewing them on a case-by-case basis?
We reviewed them on a case-by-case basis, and when those parole periods are subject to renewal, we will do so.
The commander down at Fort McCoy in my state, when I interviewed him 2 years ago, he said they were not interviewed on a case-by-case basis. In fact, in the terror hotbed of the world, Afghanistan, which should have a special immigrant visa process, previous administration used that to make sure to fully vet. Not one of those people that came in from Afghanistan were sent through the special immigrant visa process. They were simply given parole. Do you know how much damage was done to Fort McCoy during that period when those 12,000 plus Afghans came in?
Congressman, the individuals who were benefited from Operation Allies Welcome were indeed screened and vetted by government personnel.
They were brought in categorical parole, Mr. Chairman. There was $145.6 million of damage that was done to Fort McCoy. Did you realize that?
Congressman, we're very
The place was virtually destroyed. I want to move on.
That's amazing. You know, hey, Betsy, that was part of it. And you just heard the supervisor there at the fort telling members of Congress while they're questioning Mayorkas, they weren't interviewed. And those are the ones who had the firsthand experience. They weren't interviewed. So there's 70,000 Afghans who came in at the height of the disastrous withdrawal, came from probably one of the biggest hotbeds of terror in the world. And Joe Biden, I'm not surprised, didn't vet them.
No, you're absolutely right, Rita. And we have been warning about this for the last 4 years. And the FBI, even the FBI under Joe Biden, was warning about this. And yet now we have this Afghan national who, from what we hear, his protected status expired this September, and yet here he still is. So if those reports are correct, he's an illegal alien, as we've all been talking about, a criminal illegal alien. He walks up to a National Guardsman. He's armed with a firearm. The National Guardman is only armed with a knife, and yet was able to fight back even as he was shot. I'm so glad to hear you talk about being angry, because we are angry as well. We are angry, we are frustrated, and we are disgusted because we know about, as we continue to talk about every week, the rhetoric that we have heard about ICE, about the National Guard, about law enforcement in general, and we don't know whether this man thought these guardsmen were ICE agents, what they were doing. But you've got everybody from Alyssa Slotkin, who went on national news on Sunday to say that the National Guard is going to start shooting citizens in the street.
By the way, Betsy, I have that too. So let's play it for everybody, because you are always spot on, my friend. Here is Alyssa Slotkin, senator from Michigan. And as you just heard Betsy describing, suddenly saying that they're going to succumb to pressure and open fire on people. Listen to this one.
Look at these videos coming out of places like Chicago. It makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is a very, very stressful situation for these law enforcement and for the communities on the ground. So it was basically a warning to say, like, if you're asked to do something, particularly against American citizens.
So what, they're going to suddenly open fire? And then I want to play this also, Betsy. This is Ken Delanian. He is on MSNBC. He's a reporter, but he almost seems to suggest that, like, President Trump, this is sort of the theme we're hearing from some members of the media and elsewhere tonight, that Trump put these people in harm's way because they're on the streets to begin with, as opposed to they're there to protect everybody. But listen to this spin coming out on MSNBC now.
But of course, there's so much controversy happening in the United States right now with ICE, who are also wearing uniforms and wearing masks. And so you don't know, people walking around with uniforms in an American city. There are some Americans that might object to that. And so apparently this shooting has happened.
Well, there was a little dramatic music there too, Betsy, but you see where he's going. Like people might object. They might feel uncomfortable, almost justifying that people would be inflamed by seeing these troops there. That it's shocking, Betsy.
It really is. And this is, in fact, you can go over to Blue Sky, which is the leftist Twitter, and you can see that there are people on Blue Sky celebrating this, and they're saying, if you enforce fascism, you might get shot. Rita, this is the same rhetoric that we heard against law enforcement officers in 2020 and 2021, basically telling people that if you are pulled over by an American law enforcement officer, that there's a very good chance that they are going to kill you. In fact, Joe Biden himself said it, ramping up to the prior election. So what were people doing? They were attacking law enforcement officers. People were panicking because people were told, hey, the cops may kill you. This is the exact same rhetoric, except now it is directed at ICE. It's directed at the National Guard. It's directed really at anyone in a uniform who is trying to protect the people of this country. People need to be outraged. They need to be frustrated. And you need to reach out, my voters that are listening, to your elected officials and demand that the rhetoric stops today. We've got to stop it. We got to bring down the temperature. It's not the right that is ramping all this up. It's the left, just like after the murder of Charlie Kirk. When you have people like Jasmine Crockett who are talking about targeting black people, talking about slave patrols, you've got Brandon Johnson in Chicago and the governor, J.B. Pritzker, telling people that ICE and the National Guard are disappearing people off of the streets. This is the result.
So Betsy Brantner Smith with the National Police Association, walk us through, because I 100% agree with you. Good people need to stand up and say, we will not accept this. What happens now from an investigative standpoint, Betsy? We're hearing that the guy is not cooperating. He is in critical condition at the hospital, but apparently not cooperating with law enforcement. How did they piece it together? They said they looked at sort of tracking and so forth and determined that he physically acted alone for the shooting. But now, they're going to go through his last known addresses. I think he lived on the West Coast. There were some reports where he worked, his online presence. What will they do now to kind of piece together what happened to him? And maybe was somebody working with him elsewhere that just wasn't physically on the scene?
Well, they're gonna piece together every person that he associated with. They are going to find out where he has lived, who he has been associating with, where does he go to worship services if he does, who he has been talking to. Of course, they're going to look at his social media. Yes, did he act alone today? We're told he was. And in fact, when you see those pictures of him online, you can see that he was stripped naked because they wanted to see if he had explosives on him, anything like that. But they're going to find it. Just because he acted alone today doesn't mean that he acted alone in general. We're going to also take that firearm that he used. Supposedly it was a revolver. We haven't confirmed that yet. But we're going to see, where did he get that firearm? Remember, Washington, D.C. is one of the most gun-controlled cities in the nation. This is going to be a huge multi-agency investigation, and because of the proximity to the White House, to Blair House, the Secret Service, of course, is involved. And you have the military investigative arm involved, as well as multiple federal agencies and the D.C. Metro Police Department. So there's a lot to uncover, and I think we're gonna find out how he was radicalized, what his mental state was, and all of that, because this is such a frightening situation. And if he does live, obviously he is going to be charged with multiple counts of terrorism-related charges. Which is the death penalty eligible in D.C., certainly is, as a federal count. And you heard from President Trump tonight, the stiffest penalty. And we must find out, first of all, if there's somebody else who cooperated, like you said, who got him the gun, radicalized, was working in cahoots with him. He seemed to also, if we're hearing that he had some of this military training, that's also troubling too as well. There are still so many unanswered questions. Betsy, thank you so much for joining us on such big breaking news, and also, sadly, the night before Thanksgiving. But we have a lot to be thankful for, and I'm thankful for our troops and for our men and women in blue. And you're one of the best among us, Betsy. Thank you. Thanks, Rita, and thanks for your Back the Blue segments. Always. Thanks for your support. Always, my friend. Thank you very, very much, and have a good and safe Thanksgiving, Betsy. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder, what the heck is going on here?
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here, wishing you a very happy half-off holiday, because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day. Yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.